And am I a person worth following? Am I who I'm looking for is looking for? And if you're not, then how do you go about it? How do you get that? That's the question, isn't it? Look at what Paul says. Here's his motivation for why he was able to be the kind of person that he was. This is the empowerment for being a good example. Look at the end of verse 11. He talks about his persecutions and his sufferings that happened to me at Antioch, at Iconium, at Lystra. Remember, that was his first missionary journey when he left in Acts chapter 13, when he left Antioch and he went all over the known world at that time. It was at that time that Timothy and his grandma and his mom became a Christian. And he's saying, Timothy, you watched it. You saw how I was beat up. You saw how they took me to the edge of the city and they threw rocks at me and tried to kill me. But you know what, Timothy, in every single one of those examples, I endured, yet from them all, the Lord rescued me. So there's the reason. Paul lived the way that he did because his heart was gripped by the truth of the gospel. He believed firmly that God keeps his promises. We looked at this last week. The reason that Paul was able to endure in suffering and be bold and courageous and preach the gospel is because he believed if God was faithful then he'll be faithful now. If God raised Jesus from the dead, then he can take care of my financial problem or this problem at work. If Jesus is Jesus Christ, descendant from David, that means that all of those Old Testament promises that God made, even though it may not feel like it, even though it may not be on my timetable, I believe without a shadow of a doubt that God will keep his promise, that he will deliver me. If he was faithful then, he'll be faithful now. So Timothy.